Okay, third grade, I need your help with something. We are going to create some centerpieces for a banquet that the district is having. So each kid is going to get one of these cut pieces of wood that my father-in-law cut for me. They're really cool. Miss Huey helped me paint them white because I have to send 60 of them over to the district. So what we're going to do is we are going to paint a mountain night sky landscape for them. This will be a great practice for you guys to practice using some watercolor paints, practicing a landscape, doing a little bit of color blending as well. These, I know you guys are going to be slightly bummed about it, but we are not going to get to keep these. We are going to send them off to district, and they are going to find homes in a lot of the district employees' houses. So it's kind of cool that we get to make a piece of art to send to them. We kind of get to be, you know, artists that get to put our artwork in people's homes for them to enjoy. So what we're going to do for this, though, is we're going to create a night sky for the background here, and then in the foreground, the front part of our landscape, we're going to have some mountains. They are going to be in silhouette, though, so that means they're going to be black, kind of like they're hidden from the light. It's nighttime, so you're not going to be able to see a lot of details. We are going to use watercolor paints for them. So each person is going to get a wooden disc, a tray of watercolor paints. You're going to get a yogurt cup filled up about halfway with water. I have my water here. We are going to use either the smaller green brushes, or there are some that are just slightly bigger than this that you might use also, depending on how big your wooden disc is. Mine is a little bit on the small side. It's kind of also one of those weird shaped ones. It's got this extra one, so I'm going to use this for practice. But if you would like to use one of the larger brushes, the teacher can get those out for you. Okay, so we are going to wake up some colors. I'm going to be using black, blue, and I know some of you guys are going to be like, I don't have very much blue, but I have just enough for what we're going to be using. Remember, we're not painting something really big here, so it's okay if you don't have a lot of them. And I might even throw in a little bit of green as well. So we're going to first start by waking up the blue, okay? And what I'm gonna do with the blue is I'm gonna end up painting the whole thing here, okay? Now you're gonna find when you paint with the blue that your colors are going to kind of take a little bit of time to dry. You can try to add water to them, but you don't wanna add a ton of water onto the painted surface itself, just because since it's painted with tempera paint, it's a little bit different. It's not going to soak into it as it would be on our paper. You can kind of see how it's still sitting here with wet. So try not to add water to your wooden piece here to make it move around, but you do want to have a nice puddle of blue paint in here. Remember, some of your paints are going to be stickier. For whatever reason, they're not drying as well as they used to. I don't know if maybe we're just using them more often so they don't have the time to dry that they would normally. But we're just going to kind of move all of this around, and we're going to paint the whole thing here with my blue. So if your paint is a lot fuller than mine is, when you go to wake it up, you want to add several drops of water on from your clean paintbrush, but you're not wanting to really, like I'm really swishing mine around because mine's, like I said, almost gone. If yours is a lot fuller than this, don't swish it around so much. Be a little bit more gentle. Remember, we don't want to have gooey paint on the end of your paintbrush. If you do, you need to add more water to your paint palette here, so that way you have less of the thick paint on and you actually have more of like the watercolor on, okay? You can blow on it to kind of help it dry a little bit. Like I said, since it doesn't have, it's not paper and it's been painted once with the white to help the color stand out. some of that paint is going to take a little bit of time to dry, and that's okay. So I'm going to use my purple here, and my purple is a lot fuller, so I'm kind of going to see. I'm going to add just a few drops of water. I'm gently swirling, okay? And what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to come up here to the top. I'm just going to add in some purple up here. The colors are going to kind of blend together. Okay. I think your paints are going to do a better job of drying quickly. This particular one, because I wanted to see how it would do, actually has a second coat of paint on it. And I think it's actually keeping my paint from drying, so I may regret doing that. But your wooden pieces will not have that second coat. I don't think it's going to be a good thing, so yours will dry much faster. For example, I did this one to kind of see what would be the best. I thought about doing color pencils, but I don't like that. So this is going to be kind of what it looks like. This dried much quicker for me than this one is. So, and this one only has one coat of paint. So I think this one will be more like what yours are going to. Okay. So I said I was going to add a little bit of green. So I'm going to gently wake up my green. And I'm just going to add in kind of some spots here with my green. I don't want to do too much, but sometimes those colors can blend together to make some really pretty different kind of shades of blue with them as well. Okay. Once you get this done, let it sit for just a little bit. I'm actually going to go blow dry mine because I think that will help with allowing the paint to dry, so that way I can go ahead and do the mountains. But for the sake of the video, I'm going to go ahead and show you the mountains. I have a feeling some of my paint is going to run a little bit, and that's okay. Excuse me. All right, so I'm going to take my black. And remember, a little bit of this black watercolor is going to go a long way. Okay, so with the black, what we're going to do is we're going to start out here, and we're going to do what I call a varied zigzag line. So it's going to be zigzag, but I'm going to have some parts that go up further, some smaller mountains. I'm making a nice mountain range. Okay, just like that. I've got my zigzag line drawn. Now I'm going to go back, and I'm going to fill in this space with the black. Okay, this will be where we finish for the day. The very last thing that we're going to do is we're going to go back with some white. Yeah, I can see I've got too much water right here. It's kind of pulling away from it. We're going to go back with some white and add in just kind of some little specks every now and then, make it look like stars in our night sky. But we are going to use the same kind of white paint that is underneath our watercolors. And for that to work, we need to make sure that our watercolors are dry. Okay. So now the other thing that I'm thinking about is we did not write our names on these. And since we're using them for a banquet, we don't necessarily need to have our names on them. So when we go to pass them back out another time for you to add on the white dots for your stars, you may or may not get the same one that you painted first. And that's okay, because we are all taking our time on this. We are all doing good craftsmanship on this, because this is not for us. This is for someone else. So we want to try to do our very best on this to create a beautiful piece of art that represents us and is also going to be a nice gift for those at the banquet that get to take them home. So we want to make sure that we're giving them something that they are going to love to display in their house. So make sure that you're using your best craftsmanship when you are painting your landscape. I think that looks pretty good. So when we're done, we're going to set them off to the side so they can continue to dry, and then the next time we will add on our stars in the sky. All right, make sure when you're finished, close your tray, put it back in the blue container. Take your paintbrush, rinse it really good inside your water bucket here. Dry out the excess water. Put it upright in the water or the paintbrush drying rack. Dump your cup of water out into the sink and then put the cup upside down into the white dish drainer so it can continue to dry. After that, you may free draw at your table. All right, good luck.